family, the steps count when you wake up. The steps count at the top of the day, not just during the morning.
Yeah.
We want you to get 10,000 at any point in the day.
The house, baby. Let's get it.
Loading
Chicago.
So now almost a 20,000. Come on.
Shail in the building.
Janelle 8,500. You can get 10. You can get 10.
Who's that?
I know it.
Huh?
Who's that?
That's Vince Adams on Twitch.
Yeah.
When the shot, they go back, baby.
Welcome to the First 40 Sports Show with the Goon Squad. It's Ice Water and Puma holding it down for this episode. We're going to go straight to the NBA playoffs because there are a lot of interesting things happening in the playoffs. In the Western Division, you have Utah and Memphis. Memphis caught Utah first game, and so I think they're playing tonight. You got the Clippers dropping to Dallas. And that was a little shock. And I said it in earlier shows. I don't know if Kawhi's going to hang around if the Clippers get clipped in this playoff series. You have Denver and Portland 1-1. You have Phoenix and LA, Lakers 1-1. It was a pretty much exciting game last night I watched. We'll talk a little bit about that. Philly up one game against Washington. They're playing right now as we tape this show. Atlanta 1 up on the Knicks. You have Milwaukee 2 up on the runner-ups last year, Miami. And you have Brooklyn 2-0 over Boston. Ice, what is your eye test on the NBA playoffs thus far, sir?
Some things are going what we thought they were going to go. A few surprises here and there, but I'm going to start with the Clippers, man. Here's what I'm going to say. I've said this for the longest time. I thought they had a lot of talent over there, but I don't understand it. I mean, White, I was probably one of their biggest backers because I thought they had the talent to probably contend with any team, and they did not. They changed coaches, changed a few players here and there, and don't get me wrong. I was telling my brother this. Dallas, Luka Doncic is very talented, and they can get hot. But what I'm seeing from the Clippers is a lack of effort by a lot of guys, and particularly on defense. Everybody knows their Achilles heel is the three-pointer, right? They give up too many threes. Happened to them last year when Denver got hot. It's happening this time. I just don't understand it. The one guy that's playing his butt off is Kawhi Leonard. He's giving you all he has. I still, to this day, I love the way he plays. He's giving us all. But it appears as if if they don't come back, they need to make some changes. Kawhi leaves, I don't know. Man, I don't think he should leave. I think they just need to go on and clear it out and figure out what they need to do. Bring somebody in there that want to play. Some people don't want to play some defense and surround them with people. That's what I would want to do. So anyway, I look at that one. The other thing too is that we're watching the Knicks in Atlanta. I'm seeing Trae Young in a different light. You know, showing some leadership skills from there, that standpoint. That's very interesting. He's playing good ball. But the Knicks is a tough group. I mean, they play hard defense. We know how that is. And you got Thibodeau coaching them. I think it's going to be a hell of a series. Not going to be that easy. It's going to be very interesting. One of the other series I want to look at too is Milwaukee and Miami. And I know Miami defeated them last year, but Milwaukee's playing with a little oomph, little toughness, and they're coming back off of last year, maybe with a little revenge. But it's going to be interesting to see if they do move on, what happens next. That'd be interesting. And I'll get off of this, and you can ask me some more later on. I just got one more thing to say. That three-headed monster in Brooklyn.
No, that's not even fair up against the Boston Celtics.
I'm just saying, you can say, I'm not even saying, this is just showing you a little taste of it. I'm not even saying the fact that they play in Boston. All I'm telling you is when three guys come together and put together 81 points, it's a problem. It's going to be a problem for some people. So I know a lot of Nets haters out there, a lot of the Kevin Durant haters out there. You might as well go on and lock in and get ready to see what's going to happen. And not even that, as I get off of this, was it Joe Harris?
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe Harris, this is how they do it. What was it last night? Kevin Durant had played 29 minutes, had 26 points. Joe Harris dropped 20 and some change. They even resting people. I'm just trying to tell you, you just need to be careful because this team, for all of the jokes and everybody think they can't play together, they're gonna show you. It's gonna take a very special effort, in my opinion, for them to lose. And if Milwaukee advances, that's their next opponent. So we can get that out the way. I cannot wait. Anyway, I could talk about this all day. I'm gonna digress.
I hear you. One of the series I've been watching is Utah Memphis, and Morant and Brooks have come into their own as far as players that were young players coming out of college. You saw them, and they really kind of showed out, especially Morant in Murray State, and I believe Brooks in Oregon. And they really are balling out right now. They're not playing like they're rookies or second-year players. They're playing like they're not afraid of anybody. And that's what I'm noticing in these playoffs. These teams aren't afraid of the other team. You can see Phoenix. They're not afraid of LeBron and AD as they're going up against them. You can see Dallas. They're the lower seed, not afraid of the Clippers and Kawhi. Kawhi balled out. I think he had 41 points last game. Playoff P had 28 points. It just wasn't enough. And every time I see the Clippers lose and what they lose by, I always think of Sweet Lou. And like, man, could they have used Sweet Lou in this series as a guy who can give you instant buckets and give the other team problems on defense? The other series we're watching, Denver and Portland, they're tied. Every time you think Portland is that team that's just going to take over, it's almost like you see them and you go, man, they're missing something. It's almost like you're making a cake or something, and you're like, I'm missing an ingredient to make this cake great. And even though their bigs have been playing fairly decent, it just seemed like to me that Dillard would get hot. I mean, I just saw him hit like three pointers in a row. But you just see kind of the guard play is kind of not where it was a few years ago when they were really kind of giving teams problems. The Phoenix-LA series, I said to you offline, I think Phoenix is going to give LA a big problem. LA went out there and got one on the road, which they're supposed to do. When you can get one and split on the road, you're doing pretty good. And also you tackle that home court advantage. Phoenix has to sit down CP3. He's hurt. He can't give you anything. His right arm, he can't shoot. He can't hit the mid-range. And he's losing the ball. So when do they get to the point where they go, okay, let us sit you down for a while and let's see if we can do. We did it last year without him, without CP3. Let's see if we can roll like we were in the bubble and go undefeated, beating the Lakers. I see that LeBron also is a little gimpy because he can't cut as much as he wants to, and he's relying on that 3-point shot a lot. Can't get past guys. Philly and Washington, looking forward to see what Washington does in this game. Of course, I'm looking for the Knicks to bounce back against Atlanta. I believe they own this team during the regular season, but when playoff time comes, you have to kind of step up and do what you need to do to win in the playoffs. Milwaukee and Miami were a surprise to me because I thought Miami might be a stronger team, and I'm not giving up on them yet. They go to Miami for the next 2 games. Let's see if Miami kind of wakes up in this series. But you could see Milwaukee playing a little bit differently than they played last year, not having the Greek Freak kind of bring the ball up and try to go up against 4 people, getting him back in the lane, letting the guards kind of play and do what they need to do. And then Middleton has stepped up in that series as that second person that can score and also hit a game winner. I don't think it's fair you picking on the Boston Celtics. They have nothing, man. They got Tatum, and that's pretty much it. That's it. They don't have anybody to guard any of those 3 guys. Even though you have some tough guys on the Boston Celtics, I don't think they are up to the task of beating the Brooklyn Nets. So this is a series for the Brooklyn Nets to get the chemistry together to go into the second round. That's all I see it as. Whoever they're going to face in the second round, they're going to face. And they're balling. When you got 3 of them getting 81 points, that means they ain't passing. They ain't passing.
It It will be Milwaukee. Just clarification.
It should be
Yeah,
interesting.
it'll be Milwaukee.
It'll be interesting then. It'll be interesting
Yeah,
if
okay.
it's Milwaukee.
Okay.
If it's
Okay.
Milwaukee, because I'm not giving up on Miami yet. But if it's Milwaukee, it'll be interesting. It will really be interesting. You got any more to say about it?
Yeah, I just want to say that I mean, when you look at these games, I love Phoenix. The only problem with sitting down CP3 is I know he's hurt and can't really play, but they need his leadership, and I don't think they can beat the Lakers without him. I don't know what he can contribute as far as scoring, but they need his leadership. I don't know if he has to play the Willis Reed role or whatever from back in the day to try to help his team along, but they definitely need that. Lakers had a strong game last night, but we expect that from AD and LeBron and them coming together. That's going to be a very tough series for them. Denver, Portland. Portland, they always just seem like they come up a little short, right?
Yeah.
But the big thing, Denver, you have Michael Porter Jr. as the number 2 guy now. I like his game. He got a long way to go. He has a long way to go. They really miss Murray. And no disrespect to him, but he's doing all he can do. But the difference maker is the MVP. I'm telling you already, is Jokic. The Joker in the Portland was it Nurkic for Portland is a very good basketball player. But once they get really close, then the Joker goes, I got another little trick for you. Watch this. Just when you think you got the Joker right where you want him, kind of like the Road Runner, BB, you can't catch him. The Joker just goes to another level, man. And man, I have not seen that kind of creative center play in a long time. I love his game, and he just does everything to get better. But I'm not sure as they move forward. I don't know. I wish they had Murray. We had a lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas, but I wish they had Murray if they played the Lakers. But they're not. But right now they're doing what they can. Utah, Memphis, I'm with you on that too. The young fellas are playing. Brooks is playing, balling. Of course, your boy Ja Morant, getting it in. But I got to give out a shout to my man over in Denver. The one guy they threw away, they didn't even draft him. That Marcus Howard, boy, coming out that Denver bench is playing some ball. I just like the way that we're seeing younger players come up and getting opportunities. Again, like I was saying before, if the Lakers can get to the finals and if the Lakers can win it all, this is a big feather in the camp of LeBron James because it's not going to be easy. There are some teams out there that are trying to play some hardball, even though some people that are injured, it's going to be a tough road for them to get through what they get through if they make it. So we'll see.
And it should be tough. It should be tough. The competitiveness in the NBA. Like I'm saying, these younger players aren't playing scared. They're not in awe of any of these superstar players. They're just as hungry. They feel like they got a chance to win it. And you get 7 games to do it. So why not? Why not? And so I'm looking forward to the rest of the playoffs, especially the game in New York with Atlanta and the Knicks, but also whether or not Washington has any kind of breath left in them and can kind of give Philly a scare and prepare them for the next round. I don't know if Washington has enough to beat Philly, but I want them to give Philly a scare, really a scare to say, okay, this is not going to be easy and we got to come with our A game to win it. Because I think everybody's anticipating it's going to be Brooklyn and Philly. It may not happen that way if Philly doesn't play up to its capability. And it seems like Simmons is taking a more back seat in that series and in the season where he's not kind of falling on scoring a lot, but he's playing more defense and he's kind of like giving the seat to Embiid to say, hey, this is your seat, this is your team. We roll as you roll. Am I wrong by saying that?
No, because when you think about Embiid was the major candidate for MVP, right? And Simmons is trying to go through whatever Doc Rivers has been going through. But while I like what they're trying to do, they still have to have other people score. I know that you got to have Tobias do his thing. You got to have Curry pushing up. And you're going to have Simmons fill in that lane. You're going to have him fill in that lane because no matter how much they want to say it or act as if he's a major piece of their franchise, I'm talking about Embiid, he can't win it by himself.
No.
He cannot win it by himself. And they're gonna get a rude awakening. They're gonna get a rude awakening, and I don't know who's gonna win this series between New York and Atlanta. But if it doesn't happen there and they win, they advance, they're gonna get a rude awakening if they think you can just keep relying on Embiid to take you through. Because you're gonna go against some veteran players and veteran teams that are like, you're not ready. That was the regular season. I know you got Doc Rivers, but Doc Rivers don't play. He doesn't come on the court. And that's what's going to, I think, hurt it. We'll see, though. They have some guys in there. Maybe they have to bring in Dwight Howard to show them how to win. Huh? We'll see. I'm just saying. I mean, hey, he's been around forever. They have not shown that they are capable of playing in big-time basketball games.
You're kind of reaching in deep in the bucket if you're relying on Dwight Howard.
I'm with you. I'm saying, though, but if you are, here's what I'm saying. Philadelphia, if you're a team like that, they had Jimmy Butler. The young guys had a problem with him. He moved on. They were that close. And I'm not saying Dwight Howard is going to come and win the series for them, but let's definitely note that Dwight Howard, and we can say we want to, some other, the McGee, JaVale McGee, and that triple head monster out in LA helped them win that championship last year. And not only that, when you look at it, they called the Joker major problems because he had a three-headed monster coming at him, 18 fouls. He couldn't handle it. All I'm saying is, if you're Doc Rivers, Dwight Howard's not going to win the game for you, but you might want to rely on him a little bit to give you a little bit more of that playoff experience because he's been there.
All right, one more NBA question. Do the Clippers get by Dallas?
Right now, I say no. Because I just don't see how you're down 2-0, how you're going to turn it around. It's going to take a major transformation, and it's going to start on defense. Right now, Luka is doing his thing. I mean, you take nothing from him, but when you're watching other people like Hardaway and some other guys just shooting threes, you got big guys shooting threes. You see the reemergence of Porzingis. I thought he was hurt. You seeing all these people contributing, and the Clippers are just watching them, watching it go by, not playing defense and not scoring points. And they're being halted by the defensive pressure of Dallas. So I say no, because they act as if they don't want it. Same thing as last year. Denver played well, but it's like you're up 3-1. Now you're down 2-0. Come on.
Yeah, and Denver doesn't seem like it's slowing down either. All right, let's go to Major League Baseball and your eye test on baseball, sir.
Yeah, all over the place. We're going to start with the standings first. Really surprised. Was it with all that's going on, even in Chicago, and the manager going after younger players and all the hell's breaking loose, the White Sox are still in first place in the AL Central. So you got to give them love. Maybe this distraction is good for them because they're still in first place. Only up a little bit on the Cleveland Indians, who are in second place. Let's go over to the East in the American League Central. Guess who's in first place? Not Boston, not New York. Tampa Bay, baby! Yes. Half game. Tampa's in first place in the East. I'm not supposed to cheer him on. I'm sorry. I just like that small market, and they don't spend a lot of money, but they play hard baseball. I love that. In the West, in the American League, we have the Oakland A's are standing pretty steady there, followed closely by the Houston Astros in the West. Let's move over to the National League. In the Central Division, St. Louis is still hanging on to first place. But right behind them is that team that everybody gave up on, even myself. Chicago Cubs is in second place. I don't know how they're doing it with smoke and mirrors, but they're doing it. In the East, the Mets are in first place. Can't believe that. So the Braves are right behind them. Philadelphia's behind them. What's really ironic about the East in the National League is the fact that in this division, out of the 5 teams, they're only separated by 3 games. So it's wide open. Anybody can do anything right now. That says a lot about this division. Either it's very talented and very competitive, or these teams are just not that good so far right now. Moving over to the West in the National League, San Diego's in first place, trying to turn things around despite some of the injuries they've had with guys like, Tatis and others. sitting out with the COVID situation. They're in first place, Dodgers in second, and San Francisco Giants are in third. Didn't know much about them. They've had some injuries and just haven't lived up to the building that we thought they would so far, but they're in the mix. So that's where we're at right now. It should be interesting as we move forward the rest of the way, particularly when we get to that All-Star break. We'll see what happens there.
We talked about the next story in our kind of pre-show, so we'll put it on our overtime about Rod Carew and his thoughts about Ricky Henderson. It was a pretty funny story. One of the things that I did get out of the article from Yahoo Sports is that sometimes Rod Carew said that Ricky Henderson would confuse him because Ricky always pretty much talked in third person, just like Roy Jones. It's like if you didn't know who Roy Jones was, you'd be wondering who Roy Jones was really talking about because he talked in third person so many times. But I thought it was a great story, great baseball story. We also give our thoughts about old school versus new school and, the Negro League. So check out our overtime after the show. We always have interesting conversations in our overtime. Black Door will come with the WNBA report next week. But I wanted, before I go to Why You Mad, son, I wanted to go to boxing because out of all the different fighters I thought would fight this year, never thought that Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao would sign the dotted line and get in the ring. And he did it quietly because most times boxers always announce, oh, we're putting a deal together, oh, we're thinking about doing this. Errol Spence just said, nope, not going to come out with anything, any news until we have a fight and a date. I admire that. That's why I really, really admire Errol Spence. And he's fighting a guy that he could put on his resume. I think it's going to be a tough fight, but he can put on his resume and make money doing it. Your thoughts about Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao?
Yeah, well, I'm glad it worked out. It was a no-lose situation for Manny Pacquiao. Everybody wanted to fight Manny Pacquiao because he was the moneymaker. Mm-hmm. He was the one that they know, no matter whoever fought him, they can make a lot of money off of him. And from Pacquiao's standpoint, think about it this way. He definitely has a shot at defeating Errol Spence. But if this is his last fight and he is forced to retire, this is the money fight right here. This is the money fight. This is what you want. As much as people want to pump up Bud Crawford, James Crawford, right now, Spence Jr. is the A side. He really is in regards to how the money's coming out. He brings in more pay-per-views. People know more about him and they see him often, and he's the bigger draw, in my opinion. So you have it in Las Vegas, kind of pulling off the TBE Floyd Mayweather style, right? Not going to Dallas, fighting 73,000 people. I keep trying to tell people, after you get to about 60,000, then those tickets start totaling $20 tickets. Everybody's not paying that kind of money to go watch, but that's what Floyd used to do. He loved fighting in Vegas because of the fact that you only let 17,000 people in, right? All the other people want to watch it. So they can't get in. They got to watch it somewhere. So you can charge $100 or whatever you want to charge, $79.99 for the pay-per-view, or people do what they do to watch it. But regardless of the fact, that means more money. And I think it's great. I think it's a great fight. I think it just shows again, like I said, Bud Crawford is out there holding the bag. Because who is he going to fight now? What's your fight?
Yeah.
What is his fight? He's holding the bag. You can say what you want to, Spencer ducking him, whatever. But right now, nobody's paying attention to that. You can fight Sean Porter if you like. But this is a great fight because Pacquiao's old school, trying to find out, can he do it one more time? And Spence coming off the injury, as far as the car injury. We'll see if he's going to be better this time. But you can promote this fight in so many different ways because of PBC, Showtime, and then the factor that Pacquiao's global. He's a global icon, boxing icon. And people going to tune in just to see if he still has it one more time. And if he doesn't, he walks away with a major payday. This is a hell of a fight. I'm glad we've been saying forever. I'm not gonna say no names, but some people have had boxing on on that endangered species list for a long time. But I think with what's going on, and then also with the Force Wilder and Fury one more triple fight, and some other fights coming up, might have to take him off life support for about 15 minutes because it's coming back a little bit. But I just think it's one of those things. I'm glad to see they are making some decent fights finally.
Yeah, because the way I took the Earl Spence and Manny Pacquiao fight is that stole the thunder from Terrence Crawford because he'd been talking about fighting Pacquiao for years and never pulled the trigger to do it. Now that took the thunder away from you. And so that could have been a person that you could put on your resume if you beat Pacquiao that would give you more credibility and more pay-per-view dollars in the future. And you kind of squawked at it. And then with Joshua, I think with Fury and Wilder, that's taking the thunder away from him because I'm looking at him as another Lennox Lewis who will fight guys way after their prime and then get the name on the resume. But I think Lennox Lewis was a good boxer, but I never put him in the ranks of the greats because he didn't fight the guys at their prime. And so Joshua is, I think Ruiz is talking about a trilogy with Joshua. I don't know how many people would watch that over the Fury Wilder fight because that's the fight everybody wants to see, the trilogy of whether Wilder was a victim of a costume that was too heavy and all this other excuses he was putting up, and whether or not he's a real fighter or whether he learned from the last two fights and how to beat Fury or how to crack the code of Fury. What are your thoughts of this? Did it steal the thunder of Terrence Crawford? Because I think now Terrence Crawford is, to me, has to scramble to get a fight to even be considered one of the top contenders or a pay-per-view a kind of money maker at this particular time. And Joshua, he's not in this country. When he came over here, he got his ass dusted, and now he's he's flamming around when he could have had a fight with Fury to unify the belt, and now he's on the outside looking in now.
Yeah, first point, I think it did steal the thunder from Terrence Crawford. But the bigger point, I think, there is the factor that he signed with Top Rank and Bob Arum to get that fight, to get those type of fights. And Manny Pacquiao had a strong relationship with Bob Arum, and Bob Arum almost appeared to seem as if he had this in the bag and negotiated, but they couldn't get it done. And then all of a sudden, boom, Errol Spence just pops up and goes, "We're announcing it." Everybody says, "Yeah, we're doing it." So what does that say to Terrence Crawford in regards to his management,
Yep.
which he can become a free agent here sometime this summer? I think the contract's up. So do you stay with this group or do you move on and do something else? So it should be interesting from that standpoint. But the only fight I really see, if I'm Terrence Crawford and I really want to prove something, they were talking about trying to think of the young man that won earlier, Josh Taylor said he might be interested in fighting, and he has 4 belts, but he's at 140. But then will be willing to go up to 147 to fight Terrence Crawford. But I don't think that's legitimate where people are going to go, "Oh, yeah, okay, that's cool." I think the fight that if he wants to show people that he's a real deal, and I think it's still on the table, but them and Bob Arum has been quoted allegedly as saying he didn't think it was a moneymaker, is Sean Porter.
Yeah.
The Sean Porter fight, everybody wants to see that fight. So as you're waiting, if you feel you're still the guy, step up and fight Sean Porter. Switching over to Joshua, hey, a contract is a contract when you think about it. So Wilder was able to do that, and now he's fighting Fury. It's real quick though. We haven't seen Wilder in a while. He's been training and whatnot, but July,
yeah,
we're gonna find out a lot. Either he's ready or he's not, and we're gonna find out a lot. So you almost run out of excuses for this time. So I think the intrigue will have a lot of people excited about that third fight because it's like right now, it's like boom, July, not August, September, no, July. And we'll see. I think Joshua was supposed to be trying to fight Usyk. Usyk has been around for a while. He came up from like cruiserweight and moved up and has been one of the top guys that said he would step in. But my question with that is, Joshua, I think Usyk is his mandatory. But the question is, do you really want to take that chance? That we know what happened with Ruiz. So you taking another chance with another so-called top ranked guy before you get to the money?
Yeah.
Maybe you just step back and maybe give up one of those belts and let it ride and wait for the winner. Because if you lose to Usyk, Nah, bro, it's a wrap. I
All right,
don't know
man.
if we're gonna give him a shot.
Yeah. Why you mad, son?
Oh man, I'm looking at so many different things. I want to say I'm mad. I saw something where the this WNBA where the Washington Wizards, not the Wizards, but the Washington Mystics. No, take it back. Chicago Sky, take that back. Their coach had an issue with one of the referees. I guess the referees was talking to an official, talking to one of the players, and then they said to them, to one of the players, tell your boy, remind your boy about such and such. So they basically saying, you know how they go, tell your boy, remind your boy about what we just said. And then of course, when they referred to him as a boy, and you talk about a man of color, African American man, wrong thing to do. So now they have put in a grievance or something to have that investigated. And I'm really interested to see how that plays out. And I feel some kind of way, but I don't know. I guess I have to see who the referee was. But we also know that boy, that term boy, depending on who says it, tell your boy or tell your man he need to such and such and such, right? Depending on who it is. So if it's somebody not of color and they say it, then it's like, oh hell no. Nah.
It's a
The
problem.
hell yeah. But you somebody else of color was like, you might want to tell your boy, that's been in the neighborhood for a long time. Well, maybe it's not the appropriate place because of the professional arena. I'm curious to see how it goes. I'm mad because of the fact that it takes things like this for the WNBA to get coverage. I mean, really, they have a hell of a talented group of individuals that play basketball, and these type of things, and then they're applied against the issue of racism, and that's getting more play damn near than the fact that they're playing basketball. And I think it's brilliant. It's great that they're stepping up, but what about the games, bro?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I wasn't really mad at this, but this is a sign of the times, and yeah, a person of integrity, and I hope he doesn't change his mind. I was reading an article, I think in Yahoo Sports, where Khabib was offered 100 million to fight Floyd Mayweather, and he turned it down. He turned it down. Not mad at Khabib because in his eyes, he fought his last fight. He did it for his dad. And also, he doesn't want to be a part of a clown show. And I have to admire that. Can't be mad at it. I'm more mad at Floyd, money grabbing, trying to get whoever he can get and kind of just change the rules up so it's to his advantage. But I don't think you want to step in the ring with Khabib because he can switch at any moment and go into MMA style. And for rules be damned, he don't give a bleep about the rules if it comes to winning or losing. That guy is a machine and he wants to win at all costs. And we have seen it in his career. That's why he's undefeated. Why would he go against another guy who may or may not be undefeated fighting in kind of clown suit shows? All right. That's why I kind of admire Khabib for doing what he's doing. I really do. 100 million, and he says, you know what? Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm better than that.
It must have been a boxing match because he don't want to see him in the boxing match. I'm gonna just tell you that. I feel you. This is your point, but he don't want to see him in the boxing match. I get it though. I
Yeah.
get it.
So I think the boxing match with Khabib will turn into an MMA showcase where he's gonna show all his moves and he's gonna choke you out. So I think he would forget he's in a boxing match and rules be damned. I don't care if I'm not going down to this guy ever. That's the kind of integrity I think he has. All right, man. Your first question.
Yeah. My first question is, how do you feel? Actually, yeah. What is your feeling about this? I guess a major thing is happening, where Chandler Lee Adams, who's the son of Ray Caruth, right, along with Sharika Adams. Of course, we know the story that Ray Caruth had his the mother murdered and tried to end the son's life as well when she was pregnant.
Yeah.
He is graduating high school, despite the situation of dealing with cerebral palsy and brain damage. Took him 6 years, but he's graduating high school. this is something that's major from that standpoint, that is more prevalent and more important than sports could ever be, because this is a story of a young man that was slated for death, right, along with his mother, and what he's accomplishing despite what his father tried to do. That's my question. What do you think about that?
That's a touchy subject because I think we had a story like that some time ago. Him wanting to be back in the son's life after all that happened, and for me, it's kind of a touchy subject because all the damage you did with the mom, and then almost costing him his own son's life. I don't know. I you don't want to say, oh, it's too soon, but I think down the road, if the son wanted to establish a relationship, it's up to him if he wanted to do that with the father. But as far as if I had custody and guardianship, I wouldn't let that guy anywhere near that child. And maybe phone conversations, but as far as face to face, no, because that may be a traumatic experience for that young man at this particular time. And I don't know what his state of mind is, as how he feels about his biological father, and what happened, what transpired. I don't know if the family explained it to him, what happened, but I would have to put it to the son as an adult when he decides he wants to reconcile or even meet the dad, to put it on him and let the chips fall where they may. But it's a touchy subject because you're dealing with family. Regardless, you're dealing with family.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you on that. It is very touchy, but it just burns it just burns me inside from the standpoint of, you literally had his mother killed, and if it had not been for whatever they saved, miraculously saved him, as well from the situation, then, and I know I'm not a parent, but parents have rights, and you're his biological father, but try to kill him, man.
Hmm.
Tried to kill him, and maybe people can be redeemed, or they can redeem themselves, but you killed his mother and you tried to kill him, and I don't know. I mean, that's up to the young man, but that's a hell of a thing to come back from, man. Because how can you look that kid in his eye, knowing? And the thing is, he looks just like him. That's what's even crazier. He looks just like his dad. He has a lot of his dad's features. But how can you look a kid in the eye knowing what you did?
Yeah, yeah, that's a tough one. That's a real tough one. And what I've experienced in those situations where parents have done some horrific things to their children, um, the children are forgiven, man. They're so forgiving, and are able to see through that. And hopefully, Ray Caruth has gotten his life together. He's made his peace with his creator, and made some changes in his life, because as a young man, sometimes he makes some foolish decisions. But it's just a tough situation to even be in. As a child, if he's a minor, no, you can't have any contact whatsoever. But as he grows, he's going to wonder. He's going to want some answers. And maybe that's the time where him
Man,
and his dad can sit down and talk.
yeah, I mean, I guess my thing is, and I'm not one to judge anybody, because things people get caught up and they do stuff. But I'm like, I've always wondered, like, when the young lady was pregnant and you didn't want to deal with her, you didn't want her to have a baby because you didn't want to pay child support, you want to have another kid. My thing is this, and I've always said it, and maybe I'm not here to judge them, but I just never understood this. If you are feeling some kind of way about that, and you don't want to do the right thing, just run, man. Why do you have to kill somebody? That's my problem with that. If you don't want to be a dad, you don't want to be a bum, run and go in hiding or whatever. But to kill somebody because you want to take care of your responsibility, or go hide, go under a rock. People do it all the time. They go to different countries and they take up different identities. Do I think it's weak? Yes, I do. But to take a life because you don't want to deal with something that you created, just weak as hell to me. I don't get that. And maybe I don't understand it, but damn.
All right, my question is: the regular season in the NBA is over. Who's your MVP and why?
All day, baby. Joker, Denver Nuggets, simply because of the factor that no matter what had happened, they lost a couple guys. They've had some issues. Like right now, Will Barton's out. I'm not sure if he's out for the rest of the season or what. Uh, they lost Jamal Murray, and no matter what happened, he's turned into a double-double machine, sometimes a triple-double machine, and he's been consistent. And he's kept Denver right in the mix where, they fell off a little bit with Jamal Murray. They weren't like the number one, number two seed in the West, but he has been so consistent. Doesn't matter who it is. And you got to say a lot about that. They made some changes over there, bringing in some new people. But even with the trade with the young man from Orlando,
Yes, Gordon.
yeah, Gordon, and then also JaVale McGee, but he's just been consistent, and he continues to raise his game. And for as much as they want to put these other people in Embiid in there, they talked about somebody else. Dude hasn't missed any games, man.
Yeah.
And he's been dominant, hands down.
Yeah. I was trying to throw Steph Curry in, led that scoring title, got that scoring title, and led Golden State damn near to the playoffs when nobody thought they would get to. I thought about him, but you got to go with Joker, man. He's been the most consistent. He's been the most dominant and most valuable to his team to get them to the point where they're going to do some big things in the playoffs. And then when Murray goes down, they're not even missing a beat with him I call him the conductor. I'm gonna start calling him the conductor. The Joker is the conductor, conducting that team to what they're doing now. And so, regardless of what they do, in the playoffs, I think he's hands down. You got to give it to him. Even though I love Steph Curry and what he's did this season with that team, and almost willing that team to win, you got to go with the Joker on this one. You got another question?
Yeah, interesting. John Jones won a UFC. Was the former, actually considered one of maybe the greatest of all time in UFC history by a lot of people. He's trying to make some moves in his management, and he wants bigger fights. He's going to be fighting heavyweight. So he goes out and he hires Richard Schaefer, who was the former CEO of Golden Boy Promotions, did all of the Mayweather big fights. What do you think somebody like that can by guiding John Jones, can do for his career?
I don't know, man, because we saw what Mayweather was doing in boxing. He was pretty much kind of picking fights, and the hype was up. Here's my thing about Mayweather. I take nothing away from his career or anything, but what I started to notice is that they were hyped to fight so much that you had to go and see it. And then Floyd didn't really give you much of offense. He was more a defensive fighter. The fights were boring, and so I don't know if you can pull that off in the UFC where the fights are going to be boring. But if you're going to bring the hype and bring the dollars to pay per view, Floyd and his team seem to be masters at that. So if you can bring that to the UFC and get more money for the fighters and for the sport, I think it will be profitable for him, because in UFC you can't just sit there and be boring. You got to fight. You got to fight to win. Boxing a little bit differently. You can kind of do what Floyd did in the Philly shell and just kind of just do enough to win a round and then win, and then people want their money back because you didn't give them a show. But that wasn't his style of fight. He wanted to go in there and win. He wanted to secure the win. And if there was a spot where he could knock you out or make you look bad, he would do it. But other than that, he's going to play it safe, keep the money in the bank, and keep the money flow rolling. So from the hype and promotion standpoint, I think it would be good for him. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, that's Richard Schaefer's bag anyway. He's not really he's not doing anything doing with the style of the fighter, but he's been in charge of major fights. When Oscar De La Hoya was going through his troubles and whatnot, he was right there. He was the guy running the whole show. They did not miss a beat. I think John Jones, if he wants some excitement, he wants somebody that knows how to negotiate and get the dollars that he's looking for and be in a good place with UFC and Dana White. I think he's the guy for the job. In regards to the stuff you mentioned about Floyd, I'm just going to say this, that love him or hate him, and you might say these people say he was boring. But the one I think thing that pissed people off about Floyd Mayweather's boxing style is he made so-called great fighters look ordinary. Canelo Alvarez, he made them look ordinary. Now that's not exciting. Doesn't make a lot of people don't like that. They want to see knockouts. They want to see Mike Tyson every night. But when the dude goes in there, no matter who it is, and he makes everybody he fights look ordinary, you gotta give him his love. You gotta at least recognize that he might be one of the greatest of all time. But I get it. It's not pretty.
All right. What do you think about the comment that Tua made to the Miami Dolphins, or made in public in the Miami Dolphins? Like, as a rookie, he didn't really know the playbook too well.
Wow.
So now a lot of stuff is starting to make sense.
Yeah, because it makes you wonder from that standpoint, if you're not prepared, you're perpetrating a fraud then, right? And then if that's the case, you should have, I know he would never say anything because he does not want to look bad and he wants to play. But that answers a lot of questions. I will say it is, for you to say that publicly, I question that. Even if that was the case, I don't know if I would ever tell anybody that publicly. Because now that you said that, and let's say they start the season off, you're the guy, and you still are struggling, that's going to have them looking at you, looking the side eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, if you prove that you don't know the playbook after 2 years or whatever, 3, whatever it may be, you might want to be very careful, because now we're hearing that that Deshaun Watson cases have been moved back to 2022. So I don't know what's going to happen there with the NFL. But Miami might be shopping for another quarterback.
Yeah. I thought that was very, some things you just don't say, and you keep to yourself. And I can understand you as a rookie not knowing or having the full grasp of the playbook, but have enough of a grasp to go out there if you're the starting quarterback to do your job. And so this explains why they were kind of hemming and hawing with you at the quarterback position, especially during the game. I remember where they took him out of the game and put Fitzpatrick in the game. And we were trying to figure out why during the season, if that's your starting quarterback, why are you taking him out and you're putting the second string in if he's not hurt? So that explains a lot of things. Your last second shot.
Yeah, my last second shot, I'm all over the place. I thought about 2 things. I want to say kudos. And granted, I might be reaching out for people that maybe have some issues with gambling, but just going to find out that in Washington, D.C., they're opening up a full-service sports book for gambling at the sports arena, the home of the Washington Wizards and the Washington Capitals. Inside the arena, a sports book. I'm moving to D.C. Anyway, again, but the factor that this is being allowed to happen inside the arena is I think it's opening the door for so many other teams and other organizations to follow, because I think it's knocking on the door that sports gambling is about to explode in this country. I just hope people that need the help get it, but it's been long overdue. They've been betting overseas and betting a lot of ways. A lot of people have been losing a lot of money, and I think it's about to explode.
Yeah. My last second shot is to the NBA. Stop with the double standard. You fine Porzingis $50,000 for breaking COVID protocol. LeBron James breaks the protocol, and you figure out an excuse on why he's not suspended or fined. Stop with the double standard. I've been seeing this all my life with players who are the stars get preferential treatment in sports. That sets a bad precedent. And we're seeing the bad precedent play out with some of these younger athletes on these teams who think they are entitled to certain things based because of their star power. This is where it starts. So let's stop the double standard. If he broke the rules, he should be paying a fine just like anybody else. He has the same employer. That's our show. Stay tuned for overtime. We will see you next week. Also, like, comment, subscribe on our channel. Peace. Couldn't believe that, man.
Yeah. I could though. I mean, that's what they man. It's just like calls, man. They get calls, and then of course LeBron had an excuse as to why he was at some type of event or something.
There's no excuses. There's no excuses because you're putting everybody else in danger because you the big star. You know, and if they come down with COVID, what are they gonna say? Oh, we should delay the game so they can get good. No.
Yeah, and I think he's almost already said he hasn't said he has, but it's almost certain that he has not been vaccinated yet.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, he's not. I think he's saying personal reasons for his family or something, but I'm almost certain they asked him. He was like, "Well, we evaluating this, blah blah blah. Basically, you ain't been vaccinated."
Mm-hmm.
Which even more you're more at risk when you have not been vaccinated when you had some open event.
Yeah.
Then, yeah. So and then there are other players on the team that have not been vaccinated as well. So,
Yeah, because they made a whole big stink out of Lou Williams. Going different places. Virginia's goes, he gets fined, and now here you got the face of the league. He breaks it, nothing happens.
yeah.
That's a bad precedent, and there's always been a bad precedent. And then they wonder why some of these athletes act the way they do, because they figured I can get away with it because I'm the star, I'm the man or woman, and I can get away with this, and it sets a bad precedent. It really does. They need to.
They've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
Doesn't right, but they have been letting a lot of people go for years. Depends on who you are and how bad the situation is. Oh, it's not that bad. He's gonna get the shot in about 2 weeks. He'll be okay.
Okay, because to me, I've seen it in my lifetime, and I've seen the repercussions of it. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people don't see like the repercussions of those actions and how it kind of influences people's behavior to do what they think they want to do or break any kind of rules and anything, thinking they could get away with it. And sometimes you will hear those people, well, so and so did it. I'm like, well, you ain't so and so, and then you kind of say, you're not this big old star. I don't know what their situation was, but you can't do this. So you see the repercussions of it, and I don't think a number of people don't see or recognize the repercussions of how we let other people or more privileged people off on certain things, and they don't have to follow the rules, but everybody else does.
Yeah, you saw that. Not to kind of break too far out the realm of what we're talking about, but we saw that what was the actress that was in the scholarship scandal, where her and her husband were allowed to go to a vacation out of the country, and her husband was still on parole, and it's like, who does that?
No. Meanwhile, you got a woman who changed the address so her child can go to a good school, and she's doing time.
Yeah.
Just trying to look out for her child to get a decent education, a Black woman. I'm gonna change the address, and we've all done it in the hood where you live over here. Okay, I got a cousin live over here. We're gonna use the address so you can go to this school and get you a good education.
Right.
So
yeah, that's how it's done. But some things are double standards. Some things continue to haunt us as a country. But we gotta be ready, man. We gotta be ready to deal with those situations and unfortunately, realize where we lie and what part that these rules or non-rules play in our lives and how we got to handle situations.
So you said you had a brand new respect for Trae Young. Why?
Well, I mean, he has shown that he's trying to play together as a team. I mean, they talk about how much he shoots and everything and things of that nature. And it's just him becoming more of a leader, right? He's not scoring just because he can. He's scoring out of necessity. And all the stuff that's going on with catching hell in the garden. Mm-hmm. I mean, it takes a lot. And then the point that he says, it's awful damn quiet in here. I was like, wow. And then for the lovely media types like Charles Barkley and Shaq to kind of run it up the flagpole was kind of weak, in my opinion.
What do you mean? I don't listen to him. What do you mean?
Well, they just mentioned that. Yeah, you said it's awful quiet with the Knicks, and it's like you shutting them up. And I'm like, when the Knicks fans hear that, you're gonna hear they're coming for him.
Yeah,
they're coming for him. So I mean, it's one thing for it to be said, but for the media to pump it up, even if they're stars and Hall of Famers, it's kind of juvenile to me, right? Like you're looking for something, and maybe that's part of a clown show that you're trying to be part of. But he says that you just leave it there, and he's a young man too. That's a long way to go in his career.
Yeah, my thing is that you only won one game, bro. It's a long series. That's only one game. So it ain't like it's one and done and they're going home. So it's a long series. And I kind of from last year I kind of looked at the bubble and how teams kind of won and lost and how series went and like there's no holds bars when it comes to these series. If you're up 3-1, you could lose. You could drop the next 3 games. The way these teams are playing, I almost kind of, even though you have fans in the stands, I still think it's still a bubble kind of because you don't have full capacity. But I like Derrick Rose's response to it. He's like, "Man, that's basketball. You talk junk, you come back. This is what we do." And so instead of making it a like a fight or something like that, but I'm looking at the Knicks now. They need to play more tougher on defense. They need to. I miss old playoff basketball where it was a fight. It was a fight.
You wanted to be more physical.
Yeah, I want to be more physical. You come to the lane, you're going down. that's it. You're gonna have to earn an easy shot in basketball, where the score was 79-76 final.
Them old Washington Bullets versus
New
York Knicks. Yeah.
You can see the bruises and the black eyes and all that other stuff. I don't know. I guess that's the way when me and Mark and then when we were not little, we were playing ball in his backyard or on the court. That's the way the games were, man. I mean, you had to play tough. You wanted to come in for a layup, you knew you were gonna pay for it. You better have a good outside shot. You want to make points. But if it's game ball, you coming in. That's pretty much when I was coming in. Like it's game point. I'm coming in to get the easiest percentage shot, and I might pay for it with a busted lip, but I'm coming in. I'm coming in. I may get a knot on my head, but I'm coming in. I'm coming in. I'm getting that bucket. I'm getting that basket, that winning basket.
That's the East Coast mentality.
Yeah.
Running into brick walls.
Yeah.
We can do that in the Midwest, but we shoot that jumper on you too. We live for another day. We make you mad because why don't you come on in here? You scared to come in here. You might be scared. You scared? Game's still over, right? Night. Win how you supposed to win at all costs, man.
Yeah. Did you see the story I sent Rod Carew and his Ricky?
Yeah. I love it though. I love that. That's my dude. I don't care. I love Ricky Henderson. I love that dude, man.
He said, "What would he say to you before Ricky's got to go?"
Dude, and he is so cool as hell in person, man.
Yeah.
Like a great uncle. I met him. I got the pleasure of meeting him when they had like a baseball classic thing here in Columbus. Mm-hmm. Man, I almost lost my mind, man. It's called Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
And they had like a fan that won here in Columbus. And he literally brought him here, man. He had Reggie Jackson came. He didn't play, but Rod Carew, Dave Winfield, Dennis Eckersley came. Who else was it? The Big Hurt came. Yeah, Frank Thomas, Ricky Henderson, Martinez, Pedro Martinez. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, it was man. I was like, wow, And my boy came, the Wizard, Ozzie Smith. Oh my God, I was like, the Wizard. I used to watch baseball just for you, man.
Wow.
Yeah, I used to watch watch those. What was that? This Week in Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I used to watch that just to see Ozzie Smith play, man.
Wow.
Like, dun, 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 shit. I was a baseball fanatic back then.
Wow.
See y'all what y'all did to my game.
I'm not trying to change it. I'm not trying to change
I'm
it.
just saying in general. They changed my game.
Yeah.
They had somebody stop looking like me, and then they went down south of the equator. I ain't mad at y'all. They did the same thing to horse racing.
I was watching an interesting interview with Dave Roberts and Dusty Baker, and Dave Roberts was like, these younger, players need to know what the old school is about and why we put these things in place and things of that sort. And Dusty Baker basically, and I liked his answer better. He said, "Man, ain't no old school and new school. It's just the rules." He said that there's something we can learn from the new school, and the younger generation is something they can learn from the old school. And so it should be just one rule, and that's it. No old school, no new school. I'm like, okay. It's starting to see that some of the older cats are compromising, saying, okay, yeah, we need to look at this and kind of evolve the game a little bit.
No, I agree with that. I guess my only problem is with it when we say no old school, no new school, then it's like some of the newer players, just especially people that don't have know the history, then they just kind of take it. I'm so great, so I'm playing the game. Nah, man. The reason why the Negro leagues were so great is because they played by the rules, even though they were kept out, and they were dominant.
Yeah,
dominant.
Yeah, I think I mentioned to you. They had a record against the major league, the Negro leagues. They won 309 games to only 129 losses. So that doesn't tell you anything. I mean, they won more than they lost against major leaguers. So they were kicking butt back then, but they weren't allowed to play.
Right, and that's why I guess my whole thing was when they say, forget the old school. Hell no, man. That's what made baseball great. Because you kept telling folks of color no, and they never stopped. And granted, it took a special man to try to make it happen in Branch Rickey. But once they got there, they was like, "This is your game." But here we have made major strides in the history of your game, and you will never ever forget us. And not only that, it opened the door for so many other people of color with different backgrounds. So, your Latino players and all like that too. Hell, for one for the Negro leagues, none of them cats would have ever seen the light of day.
Yeah.
That's why you had the Cuban Giants. You had all kind of Latino groups coming from different places, and they connected. They didn't have their own league. They connected with the Negro League because they were all together. What? No, you from here, I'm from there. It was like, dude, we trying to play baseball. So anyway, don't get me started on that because I all day I'll be like, I still wish Jobs Gibson could have played 3 weeks in the damn major leagues. Just 3 weeks. Just to see what he would have done. Probably kept him on some medication and a couple people to keep him calm down. I'm gonna leave that there. But I would have paid money just for 3 weeks to watch him play. Because we missed out on
if he got in. They wouldn't let him go if he got in. Seeing all this stuff.
Yeah, they would not. I mean, that whole thing is what saddens me is knowing that we missed a lot of greatness because of what was going on in baseball.